Hey, what's going on, everybody? How we doing today? It's Tuesday, which means we are back live tonight, 8 o'clock, talking Jets. 929-477-2651 is the number if you want to call in or tune in, whatever. Call in Rip McCagnon, Rip Joe Douglas, Rip Adam Gase. I don't really care who you rip. There's plenty of blame to go around on this entire roster right now. It's a complete joke. I know I've been fired up this entire offseason, and I'm trying not to let one game, completely make me do a reversal. I want to stay the course here, and I hope and I think that they're going to come out strong on Monday night against Cleveland once they get a chance to actually look at the film and realize some things that they did wrong. The only thing is that you're going to have Cleveland that's also just as fired up, just as motivated. They got blown out by 30 points in their home opener, so they're going to want to come out with a big showing too. So either way, I'm frustrated. I'm nervous because there's really no excuse for losing when you're up by 16 points in the third quarter to a team like Buffalo who doesn't have a quarterback. And the defense, yeah, C.J. Mosley got hurt, yeah, Quinnen Williams got hurt. It doesn't matter. It's next man up. You can't completely fold like that the way they did. So that game is just beyond frustrating. But again, we're going to break it all down tonight. But one thing I just wanted to address right now, and Tyson did a good job of this last night. I just saw his video. Adam Gase's presser yesterday was pretty interesting, and I don't have an issue with him pointing the fingers at the cornerbacks, saying there was a lot of improvement, or a little bit of room for improvement, saying it nicely, I think was what he said about the cornerbacks. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with him, calling out the wide receiver groups for not reading coverages. I think in particular he kind of called out Robbie Anderson for not going, on the deep route when the cornerback fell down. I know Ryan Khalil took a lot of blame for, not calling out, defensive packages that he was seeing as well. So all these things, right? You have Gase pointing the finger at some guys. You have a couple players that are taking it on themselves, saying, "Hey, we got to do better." I think Sam Darnold even said he could have played better. There were a lot of individual players saying, "I could have did better." Adam Gase pointing at a lot of position groups saying that they could have did better, even though we didn't really mention anybody by name. But my issue with everything Gase said, and I like that he's a little rough around the edges, that he's not afraid to tell it how it is, that he's not afraid to tell a player if he sucked, or a position group if they sucked. Like too many times we had Todd Bowles say, we'll look at the film, and that was pretty much the extent of his press conferences. It was very vanilla, it was very dry, and I don't think players ever felt any pressure from that. Bill Parcells, I'm pretty sure, I was a little younger at the time, I'm pretty sure he, was never afraid to call a player out through the media because he knew that was a way to get their attention and wake them up. So here's the thing with Adam Gase, though. I have no issue with him taking the approach that he's taken now, but if he's going to call out position groups and, not mention players by name, but essentially, called out Robbie Anderson, if he's going to do that, all of it has to start and end with saying, I've got to do a better job putting these players in the right position to succeed. I've got to do a better job coaching them up. If Robbie Anderson doesn't know what route he's supposed to run based off of the coverage, I'm not doing my job in practice. That's the one thing that was missing from Adam Gase's conference call yesterday that really pissed me off. All right? Because it was more of the same shit that we saw from him in Miami, where he's pointing the finger, he's not taking blame, he's deflecting questions. I don't want to tell you guys. When asked about the Ty Montgomery thing, I'm the head coach. I can play who I want. You play that game with the media. Like Tyson said yesterday, you're walking a very, very fine line. All right? You're walking a very fine line, especially in this city. I know he doesn't care. I know he might not care at all. But at some point, he's going to have to, because all the back pages are going to be written, and we know how the Johnsons typically respond to bad publicity. So I don't think this is a game that Adam Gase wants to play with the media, but I know he's going to do it anyway because he doesn't care what they think or what the outside perception is. He's going to run his team his way, and I don't mind that. But again, start it with the accountability, because that's how it's going to look okay, in my eyes at least. That's how you're going to gain respect from the players. If you're taking it upon yourself first, saying, I need to do better, right? Because again, if Robbie Anderson wasn't able to read a coverage, right, I'm willing to bet that wasn't the first time that's happened, right? It had to have happened in practice. Or if it didn't happen in practice, then they're not practicing hard enough or making it game-like enough to have those situations happen. So if it did happen in practice, that's a moment where it should have been coached up. You know, so again, it's just those little things. Same thing with Ryan Khalil. You know, that kind of bothered me as well because, you know, Adam Gase was doing all this talk about, oh, you know, we have a lot of veterans on the offensive line. I bought into it. I was saying the same thing. Oh, you know, they're veterans on the O-line. It'll naturally come to them once they get in. But Ryan Khalil, he was a mess. He was a mess on Sunday. He wasn't able to read defenses. You know, he admitted that, you know, he botched a few coverages that he was supposed to call out. So, you know, these are all issues. You know, these are all issues. I think the O-line will get it together in time. So I'm not too worried about them. The cornerbacks, that's going to be an issue. I think Tremaine Johnson was targeted for completions on like 7 of 8 passes. And I think Darrell Roberts, it was like 5 of 7 or 6 of 7, something like that. I know the defense didn't give up a ton of points until the end, you know, so they were able to work around some of those, you know, drives that Buffalo was getting because of the turnovers. But at the end of the day, better quarterbacks, better receivers, they're going to make plays on you and they're going to put up points on you. All right, so unless we're getting better production from our corners, unless we're getting, you know, better help from the safeties or, you know, a better pass rush up front, that's going to be an issue. All right, so there's a lot of little things, and I'm sorry, I hate to even bring it up again, but the kicking situation just drives me absolutely nuts. I'm heading to work right now, but I would almost love to leave work a little bit early and head over to One Jets Drive just to, you know, go see the kicking tryouts that are going to be going on, throw my name in the hat, because it's friggin' ridiculous that they've waited this long. Again, if you want to blame McCagnon at this point, I don't even care. Blame McCagnon for not signing Myers, I don't care. If you want to blame him for bringing in Catanzaro, I don't care. At the end of the day, Joe Douglas still took the job in what? In April or in June, whatever it was, May, I don't know. But he's had months. He has had months. And I keep seeing people tell me that there were no kickers out there. Matt Bryant was out there for months, dude. You know, even a guy like Mike Nugent and, you know, a couple other names out there, at the very least, and this is the point I keep bringing up, at the very least, those guys have kicked in NFL games, in pressure NFL games. So the fact that we were willing to throw a kid in there on his first day, opening day, it's just insane to me. And another thing, and I know I brought this up a few times, but they played the Giants. It was technically a road game for them this year. So they had 3 games at MetLife Stadium to get their kicker ready, right? So not only did they not even bring in competition, you know, they didn't bring in a veteran to, you know, compete with Bertolette. You know, they didn't bring in anybody else when Catanzaro was terrible the first week. They didn't do a goddamn thing, all right? So not only that, but then when they signed Vedvik, during the week, he actually wanted to go. I don't know if you guys saw this story. He actually wanted to go to MetLife Stadium so he could get used to the stadium. But guess what? There was a soccer game going on, so he couldn't even go there and kick. So his very first time kicking at MetLife Stadium was on Sunday morning during warm-ups. So how is that conducive to winning or setting your kicker up for success? It's a joke, dude. And if you're trying to deflect blame from Joe Douglas on this situation, why? I get it. People love Douglas. I do too. I think he's going to be great when it comes to the draft, and he's going to add pieces that we're seeing now that McCagnon just wasn't able to do in the mid to late rounds. But again, and this is what I talked about with McCagnon all the time, mid to late round drafting is one component of team building. All right, so maybe he's going to be great at that component, but is he going to make the right trades? Is he going to make the right waiver claims? There are so many other pieces that have to be added, you know, free agency, whatever else you want to talk about, undrafted guys. And I want to see him start to really improve this roster with some of those moves. And it bothers me because he was very adamant about using that third waiver claim to boost his team. You know, he said it so many times. Oh, we've got the third waiver spot. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to add guys in here. And what did he really do? You know, he made the trade for Hairston. We got Berrios. And what else? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm disappointed in a lot of things right now with this team. But at the end of the day, like I said, try to keep it in perspective. It is one game. And at the end of the day, again, if you're able to beat Cleveland, you get back to 500, and you're going to New England the following week with a little bit of momentum on your side and a chance to go into the bye week feeling good, maybe up, 2-1. But I'm not feeling good or likely like that's going to happen, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, talk to you guys soon. We're back live tonight. Go Jets.